Ready.
Ow, ow.
Hello, hello, hello. No, I
No, we
can't.
just did that.
I can't do that again. Hi, everyone.
I honestly, I don't want to talk because I know my audio is going to be bad because, for context for everyone, Fitz ruined my mic cords. And so now I'm like, my voice isn't going to sound as great.
Mal, I hear that concern, but when have we ever been a professional podcast?
Literally never, ever.
Never.
You're so right. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, just to ground us all in our humble.
Sometimes I just think that we get paid, so I get really confused,
Sometimes I just forget that we're not making thousands and thousands of dollars
Millions
on
of
this
dollars off
podcast.
of this.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget that we chart higher than Call Her Daddy.
Yes, we do. A little known fact about Vogue Wellness.
We have so many requests to do ads for Athletic Greens, but we say no to every single one.
Yeah, we just, it's not that they don't want us. We are just not interested in doing
Exactly.
it. So,
You know who I would like to give a free ad to right now?
Oh,
Let's open up the floor. Free ad. She did not pay us to say this. Kara Duval
oh,
and Range.
oh, oh.
the funny thing is
Shorty's
that she legit doesn't do ads.
No, I know. And that's what's hilarious about this. I will give Mal full credit for getting us on. She was trying for so long to get us on to Range.
Yeah.
And every time we'd visit her, we'd do a Range class with her, and it was always so great. And now, literally, if I don't have Range in my day, I am sad girl.
Mm. Yeah, I feel the same way.
How do you feel about it, Lara?
I feel wrapped around her finger.
Yeah.
I would do anything she asked me to do.
I really do feel like she is the most effective lifestyle communicator. Like the amount of stuff that I've bought that she recommended on her stories, not sponsored. Like I just got her Laban socks, like the ones that she always talks about. I feel like of all of the influencers I follow, if she recommends something, I'm like all in. I will get that.
Well, because I trust her with my life.
Yep.
Yes, same.
Literally.
I mean, we're trying to live her Vermont life in a way.
We're calling that in. We're manifesting that currently.
Yes. Yeah, we are. I just did
Yeah.
it like an hour ago. It was good.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm so obsessed. I don't even want to talk about anything else. I really don't. I think about it when I wake up and I think about it when I go to bed.
Yeah, I feel like a little bit giddy thinking about her right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other form of movement I enjoy, but I don't deeply love and deeply crave.
Yeah, Makena, I did use your Lit account last night to do a yoga class.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you did.
Yeah, Meredith and I did it on the roof of my building, and it was an absolute dream. So,
Wow.
yeah, that was joyful. But I don't do Lit regularly anymore.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to do it.
Yeah.
We were doing a yoga class this week because it really does make our bodies feel good. I'm talking about our body, like it's one being,
Yeah.
but it makes you feel good. It's really, really necessary, especially like working at Trader Joe's. I have to at least do yoga once a week, if not like 2 or 3 times. And I forget what day it was. I wasn't even in like much of a down mood, but I stopped the class early. I was so mad at it. And and we ended and I was like, I hated that class. And like it wasn't a bad class. I truly just think like I was so like I wanted Kara. Like I wanted mommy.
Yeah.
Not Lit.
No,
Not but we love Lit. We love Lit.
yes. No, I agree. It's a different presentation of a very similar movement type.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Mal, we've been dipping our toes. Well, we've been dipping our toes in Precipice, which we're obsessed with, but dipping our toes in Arrow as well.
I think you need to explain
And
what
I
those
think
words are.
Oh, sorry. For everyone who's not as obsessed with Range as we are, these are like the tiers of Kara's classes. So it starts with the Origin, which is really grounded class. Then it goes to Foundation, which is a little grounded, but a little bit like up one level. And then there's Arrow classes, which are more like hit based. I guess that's how you kind of described them, Mal, but not really. They get your heart rate up. Let's just say that. And then Precipice also gets your heart rate up, but they're a little bit more like lyrical. Well, not lyrical, but fluid, dancey, rhythmic. There it is. And I was really nervous to try both Arrow and Precipice because I was scared I wouldn't be able to do them because our other classes are, even the grounded ones are still quite challenging. And I think you would love them, Mal. Like they were so fun.
Yeah, I want to. I think I'm a little afraid.
But that's exactly how I felt. And then I just did it and I was like, wait, I just had the best half hour of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's different, but still really good.
Okay,
Okay,
so
well,
are we done with our pitch for Kara Duval?
Kara Duval, we love you and we're so grateful you exist. And that's the end of our ad.
I feel like we should all go to one of her retreats eventually, but
Yeah.
Or just a live class.
yeah, I mean that too.
Or also when we go to Vermont, the coffee shop that she goes to.
She
Like
also
these are
teaches live classes in Woodstock that we could go to and we could time it.
I think that we absolutely should do that.
Yeah. In our
Yeah.
for our 2025 October.
Guys, Mal, you're joking. That's gonna be here in 1 second.
It's not a joke also.
Yeah, no, I'm going. I'm not arguing that.
Okay, good. Okay, but just like tell us that you believe it'll happen.
Oh, I told you I believed it was gonna happen this October.
Tell us that you pray every night before bed that each of us are going to kiss someone.
Yes. Also, Lara, I feel like you can't talk anymore. So, like, you cannot. No, I feel like I'm gonna say this. You cannot say that you would not meet a person by October. So,
Yeah, that's fair.
What?
like, you know
Like,
how you
oh,
like no way that I'll meet someone by October. And I just want to say that, I'm not gonna say any more than that, but just that I was right.
guys, you never know how the cookie crumbles.
You
It
just
just
never know.
1 second, your life is different.
No comment.
I don't feel bad at all about saying that. So I'm just gonna stick with that.
Any vulnerability that you share today, Lara, will be overshadowed by my immense vulnerability that's about to happen. So just feel safe in that. Well, yeah, I wasn't prepared on sharing anything about my life this episode,
I
but
didn't share anything about your life, so I think we're good to move on.
We'll talk about that later, Mallory. Actually.
Okay, so just like a quick transition.
Mm-hmm.
How are we feeling in life right now? Mal, how are you doing? Lara, how are you doing? What?
I love this question.
How are you feeling in life?
I love this question. Yeah, Mal. Mal, go ahead.
Laura, do we need to talk this out? I feel like you're mad at me now.
I'm not mad at you. I think that maybe I just shared something that, well, no, never mind. We're not going to talk about it anymore.
Okay.
Mal, go ahead. I'm not mad at you.
I'm feeling okay. I was feeling like very glum on Sunday and Monday.
Good word.
Yes, very melancholy. And yeah, I would say I'm up from that a bit, but it was weird because I feel like that's not my homeostasis at all to feel glum. So that, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I don't fully know why, although I told someone about it at work and they said it was exactly 4-year anniversary from COVID. So I was sort of like, our body remembers,
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Also, 4 years is hitting my brain in a not good way.
What do you mean? Like,
It's just like that's so long.
yes, that feels,
It feels like yesterday.
that's a whole, yeah.
It's a different lifetime, feels
Like
like.
think about when COVID hit. I hadn't even moved to Colorado yet.
Yeah, that's insane, actually. I don't remember your life before that phase,
Well, it was sad, so I'm glad you don't remember it.
I mean, I do, but like I feel like
Yeah.
it's not fresh.
That was still like baby days of your friendship.
sort
Yeah,
of.
well, 2
No,
years
we
in.
went to Thailand.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys did that without me.
Well, you were invited. I feel you didn't do it behind your back.
No, I just saw on my Snapchat memories like the picture that I sent friends of being like, didn't study for this exam, but now I don't have to worry about it because class has been canceled.
So true.
Oh, that's hurting my body. I don't really want to
Yeah.
dive into that.
Yeah, other than that, I feel like I'm sort of in like an apathy phase where my brain's just not fully functioning. Not because I'm busy, I feel like maybe even understimulation is what's causing it. This week is spring break, so none of the students are there, and I have things that I could do, but I'm not doing them. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling a little weird, but I'm okay.
How are you feeling about moving
I just
incoming?
want it to happen.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like I'm in the lame duck period of my presidency where I where I'm like, I just want to be there. Like I love this apartment and I'm really trying to cherish the time that I have left here. But every time I think about all of the space I'm going to have in the closet and the reorganization and the new aesthetic decor, like I get
Mm,
excited and then I feel like claustrophobic being in here.
yeah, there's gonna be so much space to spread out.
Yeah. So
You
I'm
know what
really,
I wonder, Mal, that you could invite yourself to do in
yes.
this transition is maybe remember just calling back to the intervention that Jean held with you a couple weeks
Mm,
ago.
yeah.
Maybe this is an opportunity to leave some other things behind,
Oh, hell yeah.
like overbooking yourself.
Oh, yes. I was
Yeah.
like, are there things that you hate in my household that I do not know about?
That one rug, we think about it
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. I feel like I have been a lot better recently about not overbooking myself, but I would like to continue to grow that skill.
Mhm.
Yeah, I started a climbing training plan and I have realized how when you try to do more than one movement practice really takes up a lot of time. Like if I try to do range multiple times a week, climb multiple times a week, I've been trying to run like 2 days a week. Who has time for all of that?
It's a busy schedule.
Yeah, it's like then every after work every day just becomes movement time, which is good to a point, but then I'm not actually making dinner until like 8 p.m. So,
Oh, that's late.
yeah.
That's how I feel with my movement plus Douglas
Yeah.
training and walking. I'm like, okay, we're on hour 4 of like devotion to these things, which is good, but it is a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. How are you guys?
Lara?
We're saving you for last.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, we are. Yeah.
I need you guys to prepare that I have a script planned out. For the first time ever, I prepared what I was gonna say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just gonna read a manifesto. Um, I'm good. I have been really
Why are you laughing at me? Because all I
Editing.
can see is the editing track and
No, literally same. I was like, oh, editing that's gonna be so rough.
you guys honestly need to not edit me. I want the listeners to hear what I actually sound like with every pause, every awkward moment. I don't want you guys to edit that at all, actually.
Okay.
If you do, I'm gonna be mad.
Okay. I feel like you're gonna be double mad and I don't want that.
Yeah, Mel has 2 strikes right now for everyone keeping track.
One more.
Yeah. So I've been working at TJ's. I've been working my booty off. And I have been kind of in a slow period with tattoo stuff. However, I have a trip to New York planned at the beginning of April,
I'm so excited.
and I'm going to get to see Mal, and I'm going to get to see a lot of other friends that I haven't seen in a long time. And I'm going to see Carolina. And when I went to New York previously and I tattooed Carolina and some other friends in New York, a lot of Carolina's friends had been offered the opportunity to, get a tattoo with me, but I totally understand their hesitancy to volunteer for that, given that I was so new at that point. But when I tattooed Carolina and gave her her tattoos, they all were kind of like, wait, hold on. Do you have like time to do or can we do this or that? And I had to kind of say no at that point, but I had really wanted to plan a trip to go back and to do more tattoos over there for all of Caro's friends and some of my friends that just moved over there. So I I'm really excited about that, but definitely need to commit some more time to actually planning all of that out. I feel like I'm really excited and I have so many ideas, but again, it's kind of follow through where I get stuck and have a hard time.
How are you gonna make time for all of the tattoos while you're in New York?
Basically, I have just said that I'm going to do some on Friday and some on Saturday during the day. And
Are
I'm
you
going to have,
when do you get there?
I get there Thursday, or sorry, I get there Wednesday night.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And
I do mine Friday afternoon.
yes. And oh, wait, that's a really cool note, though, is that Makena helped me figure out my booking platform. So I'm going to have a booking platform and I'm going to make slots for my New York baddies who I'm going to see. So I will send you the booking
I
link,
would love to do
Mallory.
that. Thank you. And then what are you doing that night?
On what night?
Friday night.
Friday night? Friday night, I'm going to a dinner party hosted by Miss Mallory,
Thank you.
who's in the room with us now.
Well, yeah, in theory. No, I have a lot of New York friends. And so I was like, I want to just combine them all to one dinner party so that I can get them all to meet and become friends. So that's the plan.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And then I also have been having a lot more online meetings with friends from Boulder and other tattoo connections. And McKenna and I will be in Boulder in May, and I'm really hoping to do some more tattoos over there. Also, there's just random Colorado people who have been, following my tattoo stuff and are interested in, less committed, but definitely interested in seeing what I have to offer for that trip. So, a lot of things coming down the pipeline that I'm really excited about. I also, at work, we had a little St. Patrick's Day party with the Blarney scone, which previously we talked about. Callback. We also had corned beef hash that I started making at like 6:30 a.m.
Wow.
And I hate corned beef hash. I strongly dislike it. So I didn't eat any of that. But I did have some of Fitz looks like Douglas right now when I sit with him on the ground. So I did have some other Irish things, Irish beers we had as well, which was fun. And oh, what I was talking about was that there's this person at work who does hair and she's going to cut my hair and I'm going to do it. I'm going to finally get bangs because
Shut up, really?
I'm going to really do it. I'm committing full out.
And pink hair?
I'm so
Well,
excited.
pink is going to come later. But yeah, I asked her, I was like, can you also dye my hair pink? And she was like, unfortunately, I'm taking a hiatus from coloring because she does it out of her house. And I know that that is probably pretty intense to do color as well. So coloring, McKenna might be doing my coloring.
McKenna's face looks scared.
She's ready for anything. She's ready. She's
Nodding
nodding.
confidently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime anything with beauty comes up, Laura will be like, do you know what this is? And I'll say no. And she'll go, because I'm out of the loop. But I'll try my best.
Did you guys see the thing with Victoria Garrick on the color palette? Like how she did
Yeah,
her
I'm
palette?
obsessed with the color palette
I
situation.
really want to do my color palette.
I had friends doing those like 6 years ago and hearing about it. And I kind of was like, okay, I roll. And then now I started wearing things that look good on me. I just like pay attention to the colors that people compliment me on. And I only want my closet to be full of those colors.
Mm-hmm. I
But
really,
I also want someone to tell me what they are, so I don't have to do the work.
yes, same. I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna do it eventually.
Well, sure hope I look good in pink because that's what my hair's gonna be.
You could do
Ken,
your
you look
color
great in
palette
pink.
first.
Maybe I'll dye your
You
hair,
do look,
Ken.
you do look great in pink.
I'll dye your hair pink. Is
Thank
what I
you.
meant to say.
Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna pass from that. I really love my hair.
I think, what season do you think you are, Ken?
I don't know.
Hmm.
What season do you think you are?
I think I'm an autumn.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think I might be a true autumn.
Wow, through and through.
Yeah, see, but because bright pink looks so good on you, I kind of think you might be a summer.
I kind of think so
Because
too.
neon yellow looks really good on you too. So I think you're a summer.
And I think that's because I have a lot of cool tones.
Yeah,
in
no,
me.
you do.
Bella keeps trying to explain cool and warm tone. She's explained it to me like 7 times and it never lands.
Yeah.
I have other things in my brain.
Okay, Laura, anything else before we go to McKenna Sherwood?
That's it.
Okay.
I just have to say really quickly before I bare my soul that New York is gutting me. Mostly because, and you guys have heard me say this so many times, but the pod hasn't. I am obsessed with how I feel in New York, and I haven't been there. I feel like my threshold is like 3 years. Like I need to go at least once every 3 years, and I haven't been, and I've been craving the feeling it gives me. And so I made Lara promise that I'm gonna be able to go to New York with you guys another time, and I need that promise from you, Mel.
Yeah. I would love that.
Yeah, that's all. But now that I'm like, both of you guys would be so busy, I'd probably just be wandering the city alone anyway, which is fine. It's fun. I've done that before, but
Yeah, I
you know,
don't think this is the perfect time for you to come if you want to spend time with me at least. But I would love to make a trip where it is like a McKenna Mallory trip, you know?
yeah. And Laura.
I mean, if you guys want.
I'm honestly, I have my eye on the fall, so we're gonna zero into that.
That sounds
I
fab.
really just want to go to a museum I really like that I miss a lot.
Museum of Sex?
No, not that one. And like coffee shops, because we haven't found a good matcha in San Francisco, truly, which is criminal.
Criminal. Wait, what museum?
Natural History Museum. That's my shit. I love it, actually. Okay, moving on. All right, are we ready? Everyone,
Born ready.
So ready.
settle around the reading circle.
Feel like, you remember how the presidents in the olden days used to do like
Yes.
fireside chats?
Yes.
I feel like this is a fireside chat.
We're in a fireside chat.
Yeah, I have my ear to the radio and my kids are all around me and we're listening to the president about to speak
Good evening, fellow Americans.
on this night. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm taking it away. Okay. So, first, quick disclaimer. I'm just going to tell everyone listening that if you know me personally and you don't want to know intimate details about my medical situation and or my intimate relationships, I would ask you not to listen to the rest of this episode. And that's just a kind ask. It's up to you. You can make the call. But if you're like, I know you, but I don't know you like that, you know, I would think about it. I would think about if this is going to serve you to know about me.
We'll give you 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, and
Okay,
remember, you can turn it off at any point. I just want to remind people,
No.
like, just because you've started now doesn't mean that you have to listen
Yeah.
through this entire.
If you start the story, you have to stick through it.
True. No, that's not true. But the second thing that I'm going to say is that wait, actually I forgot the second thing, the second disclaimer. Oh, I know. That this is something I'm deeply don't peek at my notes, Laura. You don't get to see the story before Mal and the rest of the
Wow.
nation.
Laura has a strike too now.
Okay. back to what I was saying about my insecurities.
To the rest of the nation.
um, this is my biggest insecurity that I'm about to tell you guys about. It's the scariest thing I've ever said on the podcast. Hands down, the scariest thing. And I would just love if people could respect that and really hear me when I say that this is hard for me. But I think ultimately beneficial, which is why I'm sharing it.
Isn't it interesting how we all have different types of vulnerability? Like, because for someone else, you sharing what you're going to share would be like no big deal. And for you, you share emotional things so openly, but it's just so interesting how everyone kind of has a different threshold for different types of vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. Well, we get into the emotional, so just
Okay. Yeah.
hold your horses there. Okay, I'm gonna dive into a brief history of my medical situation. So we're gonna jump right in. Are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Please provide feedback and commentary.
Okay.
All right. So my entire adult life, I have dealt with hemorrhoids. There it is. She said it. Just kidding.
It's out in the open.
That is real. Like that is a real thing that I've always dealt with since probably like right after high school-ish. Maybe like 2017 is when it really kind of started bugging me. This kind of went along with in 2018, 2019, me going off of birth control and kind of we talked about this on the podcast before. You could probably dig through and find, or you've heard me say it before, but I had been prescribed a really high hormonal dose of birth control that I should never have really been on by a doctor that shouldn't have given it to me. And so my come down from birth control was quite difficult, and I had a lot of side effects, and I had to go to a lot of doctors because my body was so unhappy. But this is primarily when a lot of my gastro issues started. Yes, Lara.
I was just going to say that it feels like 40 years ago that we were on hormonal birth control.
Yeah.
That feels like
popping pills.
Centuries ago that we did that.
Honestly, thank God that that's no longer the case. I mean, I'm like 6 years off of it. 5, 6 years. I haven't been on birth control again. Kind of wild.
Wow, I'm almost a century.
Wow. A century, you said?
Sorry. A decade.
Yeah.
I'm 100 years old.
Congratulations.
Wow, she looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a follow-up. Okay. Are you gonna explain what hemorrhoids are at any point?
I wasn't planning on it.
Google image search, everyone.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted to give like a really brief like description.
I'm not really even sure I could give a great definition.
Do you want me to do a
Laura's
quick
gonna
Google?
Yeah, you guys can look it up, but there are two kinds of hemorrhoids. You can have internal hemorrhoids and you can have external hemorrhoids. And that is basically on your butthole. And we'll get a specific definition here.
All right, everyone. This is via the Mayo Clinic. Hemorrhoids, also called piles, are swollen veins in the anus and lower rectum. Hemorrhoids are similar to varicose veins. Hemorrhoids can develop inside the rectum, called internal hemorrhoids. They also can develop under the skin around the anus, called external hemorrhoids.
Okay, there you have it. So, okay, back to timeline stuff. Also, a quick other side note that I am going to talk about some factors that led me to some of the issues I'm having. So, if stuff with food and those things, if you don't want to listen to that, just turn this off. And I in no way think that I, by having these behaviors, directly caused it specifically. So I just want to name that. But basically during that time, gastro issues start. There's food sensitivities that arise, and also the start of my healing process with extremely disordered eating that was kind of at its highest in 2017, 2018. And so because of this, it just naturally, my body was having a hard time Which obviously when you have like irregular bowel movements or you just are in pain, it impacts everything. And in 2020, kind of fast forwarding a little bit, I was in such severe stomach pain almost every single day. Remember that era, guys? When I had such severe pain. I would call Mal's mom. I would call Jean and like, I don't know what to do. No doctor can help me. Like, I'm in so much pain every day. My stomach was like rock hard. And I've always I've always eaten pretty normally, right? Like it wasn't something that was abnormal in terms of food, but because of that, I had to go on this big journey of eating at the time for just like a brief stint of time, like low FODMAP, which is just basically I ate the same exact thing every single day to try and determine what was actually causing the pain. And then over the next few years, up until now, basically, now I don't have much trouble, rarely ever. Like my tummy doesn't hurt a ton, but I'm also still quite careful about what I consume and that's mostly just because I'm scared of the pain. Like I'm scared of it, the discomfort. So,
Have you felt that again?
not like the recurringness of it because I've pretty much removed a lot of what was causing the issues. And so
Okay.
that, you know, whatever. But I can eat a lot of things now. I eat a really like whole, spectrum of foods and all of that. Um, okay. Any questions?
No.
All right, let me figure out where I'm at on my situation here. Okay, so hemorrhoids. They're kind of increasingly getting worse. And I talk to doctors about them, and they're like, oh, this is just a skin tag. It's no big deal. I talk about me feeling anxious about talking to future sexual partners about it because it's embarrassing or I think it's embarrassing. And they're like, no, this is so small. Like, don't even worry about it. So I'm like, okay, this is normal. Also, I know that this runs in my family. My whole family has let me know that it runs in my family. So it's not something that's like super, super abnormal. Fast
And
forward,
what would
yeah,
you rate your pain and discomfort at this point?
with hemorrhoids,
Yeah.
they pretty much never were bothering me unless sometimes when I went to the bathroom, they would
Mm.
hurt a little bit. And then I would often go through periods of like they're really bad for a couple weeks and then it would go away and I wouldn't feel them for a couple months.
Mhm.
And then it kind of roll. Um so yeah, that's kind of the background. And then in last summer, well, actually, when we got to Colorado to our sprucey house, I feel like the pain kind of picked up a little bit during that time. Like it started gradually getting worse. And then last summer happened. So summer 2023, which was obviously incredibly stressful. And we like hit a high point of hurting. And so that's kind of what I've been dealing with since. And so from last October to now, it's been really, really, really bad and really painful. And the doctor like has prescribed me, like things that literally numb my butthole so that I can get through the day because I'm in so much pain. And the hard part about this is that there's not really quick fixes for this situation. Like it's not like they can really prescribe me a medicine. The doctors always have only told me like you should exercise, don't sit a lot of your day, eat more fiber, eat a balanced diet. And I have been so frustrated because I come to them and I literally say, I am your perfect patient and I do all of these things. I'm so well hydrated. Literally everything on this list I do, with the exception of stress management. That was really poor. But everything else I was on top of. And I take like I've always taken care of myself to the best that I could in the moment. But throughout the years, as I've realized, with the food stuff, I wasn't taking care of myself the way I should be caring for myself. I've gotten to a point where that is my number one priority is to care for like my mind, body, soul, spirit. That's literally my number one priority. And so it's just frustrating to have doctors continuously tell me that. And I met with a gastro in Colorado who basically scared me that I had cancer and then was like wanting me to get a colonoscopy ASAP. So there's all these things where I'm like, I am deferring to these professionals to help me. And they're either minimizing the situation, telling me lifestyle things that I'm already doing, or, whatever. So that's where we're at. We feel good about that? Any follow-up?
Yeah.
If you want, I kind of want you to expand on your meeting with the gastro in Boulder, because
Yeah.
I just, we all know that certain doctors should not be doctors.
Mm-hmm.
This man included.
So many.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was in a lot of pain, and so I went to our general practitioner that Lara and I both saw, who's super lovely
Love her.
woman, and she literally took 1 second of a look at me and said, "Yep, you have a hemorrhoid. I'm referring you to a gastro. He can help you like with next steps." So I go to the appointment, and the gastro does an exam on me, which was really rough. So that's kind of the first red flag, is like when someone gives a rough exam, it's especially in such an intimate area,
Yeah.
it's just so inappropriate. And he told me that he didn't see a hemorrhoid at all, which is actually ridiculous because anyone could see it, like literally anyone. And so I knew that that was kind of off, but then because sometimes one of the symptoms with the hemorrhoid is like sometimes I would have bleeding when I went to the bathroom. And so I told him that, and he was like, "Well, I don't see a hemorrhoid, so that means that the bleeding is probably coming in from internal, which means that you might have a polyp. And if you have a polyp, that can be cancerous. And I just don't want you to be sitting here in 5 years with cancer." And also, in the grand scheme of life right now, colon cancer is on the rise, like big time with young people. And so I'm receiving all of this information in an already stressful time of my life, literally being like, I move in 2 weeks. I have to decide if I'm getting a colonoscopy the week before I move, essentially, to like make sure that I don't have fucking cancer. Like, that's scary. And cancer is probably like one of the things I'm most scared of. And I don't know. It freaked me out.
It was just so, I don't know, pushy, and the way that one, like having any physical exam in such an intimate area and not being like, do you have history? Do you need me to do this or that to
Yeah.
like make sure this is a comfortable experience for you? To just go in there and be like rough with it, like that is just horrifying
Yeah.
to hear that he did that.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like pushing a colonoscopy when, it's like looking up at the blue sky and being like, well, I don't see like the sun. Like, no, it's there,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Yeah. And Mal, after the appointment, and I told Mal, you looked him up and he had really bad reviews. And
Yes.
a few of the reviews were literally just echoing the same thing, which
Mhm.
was I was a woman in his care and he was rough with me, or he didn't take my symptoms seriously.
Steamrolled me.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so gross. We don't like that at all.
Yeah, he had like 2 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah. But when I came back to California in the fall, I think in September, I booked an appointment with a doctor that I'm familiar with here and I really like. And I told him of like that concern or that experience that I had with that gastro. And he was like, okay, well, if you're not quite ready to have a colonoscopy, just also my insurance doesn't cover it. So we're talking like thousands of dollars out of pocket. Um, he was like, let's just do this lower cost, basically poop test where I do it at home. I drop it off and they test to see if there's like microscopic levels of blood so they can, with like 70% ish tell if I'm bleeding internally or if it's truly an external situation. And so that felt good to me because I was like, all right, we're doing something. I'm doing some movement here. I'm not just letting fucking cancer grow inside of me. Um, and I think I would still feel more comfortable if within the next 2 years I get a colonoscopy. Like I think that's still on the horizon, but I don't feel as stressed to make it happen ASAP.
So I assume they did not find blood.
No, yeah. So the test was clear. So that kind of was like, okay, because basically the idea was if that test came back positive, then we could lobby my insurance to to cover the colonoscopy because it wouldn't be like exploratory, basically. It'd be a necessary procedure.
I also just so vividly remember being in your room in Boulder, I think like 48 hours or something before the colonoscopy. We were butting up against the timeline where it was like you either cancel and get your money back or cancel and don't get your money back,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. And we were just like, are we going to Target to get the whole haul of everything that you need to do a
Yeah.
colonoscopy at home? And just like you were so upset. I was so upset, but like also just like tell me what you need to do. Like I will drive you. I will get the things. I will, you know, I it was just such a stressful time in our lives already. And then to have this operation that we were going to like try and do, and it was just such a horrible few days. And I think that the way that you were able to just, I remember when you called it and you were like, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, okay, like that's it. And I think that that was such a good example of like knowing your body, having so many voices tell you like, you have to do this, you have to do that. And just being like, guys, hold the phone, hold the freaking phone.
Yeah. If you want to see me freak out, you should approach me with the decision that I need to make immediately that has high stakes. If you want to see me absolutely lose it.
It's really fun.
Yeah. And also, just a side note is that my mental health was the worst it's ever been in the months leading up to that. Like May, June, July, horrific, horrible. So that's like a huge layer of that whole situation. And also, I didn't feel comfortable being under anesthesia with this man
Oh, no.
at all. So that's that. I do have to jump to the meat of what I want to tell you guys, like the actual, the big stuff. I just had to give that background. Mal, do you have anything before I do that?
No, Ryan's just being loud cleaning the kitchen, so I'm trying to mute so that you guys don't have to hear that.
Okay. All right. So this is when it gets kind of, I think, next level vulnerable for me is, okay, quick disclaimer actually. So for example, when I give readings, sometimes people will approach me with health issues that they're experiencing. And I'm always really good about saying, it's in my consent forms, all the things, but I also remind them verbally that I'm not a medical professional and that what I do is I can help identify emotional components or kind of of an injury or of a medical condition, or also kind of practical things to help ease symptoms and less so like fixing someone's medical issue. So that's kind of my lens. I don't think that every single issue that we have going on is tied directly to an emotional component, or I guess more so I'll say like sometimes maybe there's always a tie, but sometimes it's like a 1% tie and sometimes it's like a 60% tie, right? Like there's a scale. And I also never, ever, ever think that we cause our medical issues. And so that's another disclaimer there. Like, I do not think that that's true whatsoever. But similar to like Mal, when we were talking about that book and Rage, and we brought up that statistic about, I can't remember the exact one, but it's like women who, what was it? Do you remember?
Express their anger. Yeah, it was just like it has been associated with a bunch of health issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like we can think about like it for a simple example, if you need to really set a boundary or you are overbooked. Let's do that. Let's say you have a really full busy life. The time's going to come where you get really sick that you can no longer participate in that life. Like you're like going back to our episode of being like benched by your body, that's like your body will make a hard stop for you if you don't listen to the many cues it gives beforehand. And so that's kind of what I had a discovery in therapy this week. And I told my therapist, I said, I have a theory, and this is my theory. And now I'm telling it to you guys. But basically, if we kind of zoom out of my life, in 2017, I had a super intense breakup. And so from 2017 to 2023, we've talked about my dating life extensively, so I don't need to go too much into it, but a lot of it involved me dating people that I didn't really like. I wasn't attracted to physically, um, and who made me feel unsafe. So there are, and also at the tail end, did extraordinarily inappropriate things that were not okay. So there's like, looking back, I have so much compassion for that like phase of my life because it was just like, that's just sad, like I would never want my kid or my friend or my loved one to date for that many years and to not enjoy it, right? Like, or to not, it doesn't mean it was all bad. Like, there are a few outliers, but I think in general, that was the situation. And I think that you guys looking in could probably tell that was the situation as well. So,
That's why I smiled. It wasn't because I like wanted that for you at
no,
all.
of course, yeah.
Like it's just reflecting. It's yeah, it's like, oh man. Like, oh gosh.
No, it's big time sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything, Laura?
Just feeling some anger. That's all.
Okay. It's okay. We can
You want
feel
to
anger.
express that, Lara, so that you don't cause any health issues?
Let's just say there's a few people I would like to um hmm rearrange their organs.
Intestines.
Yeah.
How do I say that gently? Yeah.
She's my guard dog.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really bad. I don't want to like gloss over it. I've done a lot of work around this. I've really thought deeply about it and I will continue to think deeply about it. But it is very, very sad to me. And it's a big piece that I have to grieve that that period of my life existed like that.
Hmm.
Um, so this leads to me now where I feel like I've turned a corner, literally, in the year 2024, where number one, I'm starting to feel ready for a relationship and one that is like a true, um, I don't know, like a true, genuine intimacy in a relationship, which I was not prepared for before. And also, to be clear, I played a role in all of these previous relationships, right? Like, I chose them because I didn't risk anything in them. I didn't like them, so I wasn't risking anything. And that's a horrible thing to say. And, I think it's also important that in these dynamics, I wasn't harming other people in those things. Like, I think when it did get to a point where it was like, okay, this isn't working for this other person, or they're not on the same page as me, there was discussion. So it didn't feel as though I was taking advantage of a bunch of people, is basically
Ask these
what I'm saying.
fucking people, McKenna, at the end of the relationship, they were like, McKenna, you've changed my life. You've made me a better person. I've grown so much. And we're like, fuck you.
No, literally, fuck you. Like, yeah, I don't have that much compassion left for them. So that's that. Um, okay. And
I just said that to make the point that you definitely were not taking from them. In fact, I feel like you pushed them all to be better people. And I just feel like that was a lot of emotional labor. But yeah, that's fine.
thank you.
You have a lot of volunteer work under your belt.
Yeah.
You should be able to write that off
No,
on your taxes.
literally, I should be paid. Um, their parents should pay me, actually.
Mhm.
So, okay, I need to finish my thought because we're getting over our time limit here. But basically, I have realized that with sexual relationships for the last, what is that, 6 years, 5, 6 years, every time that I mean, let's say 90% of the time, maybe more, I am bracing, my body is bracing before a sexual interaction. Like, I never really felt like I was comfortable enough after that big breakup to open myself up to somebody emotionally or physically. And I think the continual bracing of that situation led to what I now have, which is a one step up from a hemorrhoid, which is an anal fissure. So like my butthole literally is ripped open. And
We call her Fizzy.
it's so painful. It's so painful. Poor Lara has seen me walk around like a grandma. I mean, it's getting better every day, but like earlier this week, I wanted to be on the floor, like throwing up. Truly, I was in so much pain. And I'm not sure you've ever really seen me in pain significantly. And so it's not fun. Really not fun. And it's still deeply uncomfortable. Um,
What has made it better throughout the week? Like, are you on medication or?
I keep using the creams. I'm trying to take sitz baths. I basically don't sit all day because it's too painful. And
Pain meds.
sometimes some Advil or Tylenol. I ice it. Like it's literally a pain I wouldn't wish upon anyone. So whatever. But I'm trying to be at a point where I'm not shunning this from me, because I do think that there's it wasn't a causation, but it's a correlation of these like sexual encounters that I've had and how hard my body was saying no to me so many times. And at one point I was saying no and it was still taken, right? And so that it leads to years of me bracing for this, which I think has significantly contributed to the current state of my body. Um, and yeah, it's just intense. And I think I'm at a trailhead right now, call back Mel, where I it is time for me to explore what that side of my life is like without feeling like I have to be anything for anyone in that way. And I mean, even like last week, my therapist and I were really working on me, like taking time to just reintroducing my body after um I don't feel like I can call it like an assault. I feel like that's a little harsh.
I would call it that.
I mean, you can call it whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, there was that. And afterwards, I like no longer had a sex drive. I felt really fearful. And so my therapist and I are working on reintroducing safe touch and without pleasure as the end goal. And I was doing that like before this really intense anal fissure, because I couldn't imagine doing that right now. But basically, I was just like exploring my body, and I was noticing that as I was doing all these protectors were coming up, just in relationship with myself. And the way that manifested was like showing me intrusive thoughts of like, oh, you should think about this inappropriate thing right now, or like just throwing the most absurd, like, oh, remember this person, someone who you should not be thinking about when you want to like be intimate with yourself, right? Like there was like boundaries being crossed, and I think it was my body's way of being like, this has never been safe for us. um and so yeah, it's a really hard process. And I'm just at this point where I'm like, I feel like my brain is exploding because of that connection, and also excited because I can finally care for myself in different ways. And I was talking to my therapist about, it's weird that I also feel this intense energy to like really find that deep, intimate relationship or connection. It doesn't even have to be a relationship, just a connection. And she was like, this is really interesting because your body, it's like if you met someone tomorrow, let's say, like the physical component of your relationship wouldn't be available right now. Like you would be forced to do things the opposite way than what you normally do,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is brilliant. And I think that there's no coincidence in the fact that I have like arrived at this point in time with the exact tool set that I need to welcome something like that in. I don't think that at any point in the past, even though I wanted it, I I I just simply I wasn't ready. I don't think that my nervous system was ready. So, that's my story.
That's so interesting because I feel like we've had a lot of conversations about how, like, in the past, you've had to use sex as a tool
Mhm.
for like situations and with different partners. And I don't mean in like necessarily like a coercive way, but I mean as like a coping mechanism
Oh, truly.
sometimes, and also as like a way to deepen the intimacy in a way that you thought they needed. And so, yeah, it's really interesting to think about like not having that tool in your toolbox and how you would change the relationship building process.
Mhm. And, as a way, just to add to those examples, a way to distance myself from truly grieving the loss of when I did have that.
Totally. Yeah.
So, yeah, it can be kind of gnarly.
I do you feel like you identify with the word clench?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be interesting to see if you can practice not clenching as much, you know.
Yeah. No, 100%.
You know.
And it's also kind of like, Lara, I want you to tell yours. I can feel you have thoughts. Do you have thoughts?
I do, but I'm not like not
Okay.
pressing out of my holes.
So many holes today. Is for the first time, I'm so excited of what this reclaiming looks like for me. Of like, okay, when you do get to be with someone who you do open for in that way and in an emotional way as well, and also in a way where I feel so safe and supported and protected and in my own body and with someone else, like because that part of my life is such an important part of my life and a front facing part of my life that I'm very open about. I'm excited for when those worlds collide in a safe way. Where I'm like, I can't even imagine how much better everything will feel when we get to safety with that.
Sorry, the world's being like you as a sexual being and you as like a lover being.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was that my thought was similar to that, and that I think that anatomically maybe you are someone who is able to like have a fun time during sex because of how you're built, like
Yeah.
kind of like
No, literally anatomically. Which could
anatomically.
impact my other places. It could impact tension in other places, you know?
Right. I mean more that like you could be in a situation with sex with someone who you maybe don't care all that much about, and you could be able to still have a fun time and experience pleasure. Whereas I feel like for me, I like it's not that easy. And like there has to be so much of me like relaxing and being so comfortable and all of that to like, and I feel like it's kind of like give and take. Like I had sex for many years and it was just like kind of medium. Whereas like I feel like you are able to experience pleasure with less going on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. What is happening?
Mal, what's happening?
I always forget that I can use the little Zoom emojis. Is this a
Yeah.
podcast? I guess we need to talk on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you for
Um,
sharing.
yeah, thank you for being so vulnerable.
That wasn't as scary as I thought.
No,
I
I
feel like you laid it out really well.
yeah.
Thank you. I prepped for it.
I know, I can tell, and it was so smooth.
I mean, even my therapist believed my theory, which I mean, she doesn't have to believe it to make it real, but she was like, I think you're onto something. She was like, I'm really excited for you because she's like, I basically excited that I'm at this trailhead where I'm like, this is my next journey, my next quest,
Next
Mhm.
chapter.
next chapter. All right, well,
Okay. I
that's
think
all I
it's time for
have.
me to take a poo tonight.
Everyone send a prayer up to Hemi
Busy.
and Fiji.
There's
Yeah.
two?
And well,
We don't really know what's going on.
they're kind of like twins.
I will say, to ease everyone's mind, I have a doctor's appointment next week, and then I have an appointment with a colon rectal surgeon the week after. But there are
Not
limited treatment options and limited treatment options. So at the very least, I'll get validation for my pain.
I mean, hopefully.
We can hope, yeah.
Well, the colon rectal surgeon is a woman,
Okay, we love that.
which I requested. Well, requested, and also it was who my doctor likes to work with, and my doctor's sick as hell. So
That's good news.
yeah.
We'll just end with one thought that our bestie Brookie told us, and that is that the sick person only has one wish. Wait, what was it?
I was saying I can't remember.
A sick person goes to bed with only one wish, and a well person goes to bed with 1,000 wishes. Something along the lines of that. And what you're just supposed to feel in hearing me say that is that if you are well and if you are healthy, feel really, really lucky that you can have 1,000 wishes for your life. And if you are experiencing a health concern, or if one of your loved ones is struggling with a health concern, we see you and we feel you, and we really hope you get that one wish you're wishing for.
Beautiful.
It was lovely. I wasn't sure where you were going with it, but it was a good end.
Thanks. we owe all of that to Brookie. So,
Okay, America, signing off.
and God bless
Or
America.
president. We kind of show it.